Hey, what's up guys? John here, and I just got back to the US. Recently I was lucky enough to go back to South Africa and do some of Volunteer Southern Africa's newest conservation programs. One of the new programs I did is called Living with Cheetahs, and this program is truly like no other. As many of you may know, there are a lot of different volunteer programs in South Africa that allow you to volunteer with animals. But what makes this project so unique is that it's strictly about animal conservation, and they raise the animals specifically for the purpose of releasing them into the wild. As a general rule, most animals born in captivity cannot be released back into the wild. However, there are some animals, like cheetahs, who can be released into the wild under the right circumstances. In South Africa, the population of wild cheetahs is declining, mostly due to hunting and loss of habitat, and that's why this program was started by Des and Aleska, two local wildlife experts with many years of experience in this field. The program itself takes place on a huge game reserve about 6 hours outside of Johannesburg. You can go on game drives and there's tons of free-roaming wild animals. One of the biggest misconceptions about wild animals is that because they are wild, they're automatically born with certain instincts and abilities, and if you just drop them off in the wild, they'd be perfectly fine. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Oftentimes, cheetahs are treated as pests. They usually get shot by farmers for going after their cattle, and because of this, some of the cheetahs at the facility are orphaned. And since some of the animals don't have their mothers to teach them how to hunt and develop those necessary skills, one of the things that we got to do as volunteers was helping the staff train the cheetahs on how to hunt. We even got to actually go out on a hunt with the cheetahs, which was probably one of the most amazing and surreal things I've ever done.
We're going to go across the road. It's quite a big area, it's about 3,000 hectares in total. We're going to drive in there to a point where we think there's enough antelope and what have you. Offload the cats, we're going to walk with them on harnesses up to a point, and we're going to release the harnesses.
Cheetahs have made their takedown. It's kind of crazy seeing this in real life. It's pretty insane.
I don't know if I can even describe to you in words just how incredible it was to be a part of that.
We were watching the 3 sub-adult males stalk the blessbok. We came all running up over the hill, and then once we were there, they had their dew claws into the blessbok and they were taking it down. It was great to see compared to when you watch it on television. It was real life, so it was pretty impressive.
Most people only get to see something like that on TV, or if they're lucky, they might see something like that on safari from 100 yards away with a massive zoom lens. But we were right there, right next to the cheetahs as they were taking down the prey. We ran behind them the entire time. I was at a loss for words. The whole thing was just mind-blowing. Admittedly, it wasn't the prettiest sight to see, and if you're sensitive about blood or anything like that, that may not be something that you'd want to witness, but this is just the reality of animals being in the wild. Just like many wild animals, these cheetahs are carnivores. They eat the other animals, and it's survival of the fittest. At the Living with Cheetahs program, you're not limited to interacting with just cheetahs. They have quite a few other animals, but my personal favorites were Lulu the mongoose and a mischievous little meerkat named Zulu.
This morning we're taking Zulu and Lulu, a meerkat and a mongoose, out for a walk. It's kind of an enrichment for them. They get to display normal foraging behaviour and they just get a bit of a change from their enclosure. It means they don't have to sit in their enclosure all day. It's quite funny because you have to keep an eye on them. They will run around and try and escape and hide under rocks, and they do a lot of digging. So it's good fun for them and it's good fun for us trying to keep an eye on them.
You're so cute! Oh my goodness. I can't. What are you doing?
At this program, volunteer duties are fairly typical. You clean the animal enclosures, help prepare food, and just do general maintenance and upkeep. But you also get to do some really fun activities for the cheetah enrichment and stimulation.
Since we've been here, we've been helping out with various activities that contribute towards preparing the cheetahs to be released into the wild. Some of them include building up their fitness with having them run on the lure.
So now we're doing exercise with the cheetahs where they chase this wire thing here. It's called a lure. Basically they do this for mental stimulation and so the cheetahs can get plenty of exercise and run around.
Just like a lot of domestic animals need playtime and have to run around, the same goes for the cheetahs. With all the different things you get to do at this program, you still have activities and excursions. On one of our activity days, we went and we had lunch by this waterfall. It was a really relaxing day. We spent most of it just exploring and watching the wild animals roam around. Unlike a lot of the volunteer programs that you'll find in South Africa, the cheetahs here are being prepared for life in the wild. They're not in a petting zoo, they're not being played with all day long by visitors. So usually when you're looking into one of these volunteer programs, you have to make a choice. You can go to a place that has a lot of animal interaction, but a lot of times you'll only find that at somewhere like a petting zoo, or you can work in a program that does rehabilitate and release animals. But at many of those places, they don't allow any animal interaction with humans at all. What I love most about this program is that it gives you the best of both worlds. You're getting plenty of animal interaction because you're walking them, you're training them, you're doing enrichment exercises, but at the end of the day you are preparing them for life in the wild and you're helping to contribute to the wild cheetah population.
All of this is a learning curve, and in about a year's time they'll be ready to be put back into the wild. This is the main thing. As long as they know how to hunt, we're happy to release them.
Since I've started doing these videos, I've been invited to a lot of different volunteer programs that have animals, but most of those invitations I have turned down. Zoos and other facilities like that, they do have their place, and I'm not saying that I don't agree with what they do. But what's important for me is that when I go to volunteer somewhere, I don't want to volunteer at a place that's just a petting zoo and a place that's just created for the gratification of humans. I want to know that the work they're doing is legitimate and that it's strictly for the benefit of the animals. So if you want to volunteer and get up close and personal with wild animals, but you also want to make sure that the place is legitimate and that you're actually contributing to legitimate animal conservation, the Living with Cheetahs program is one that I strongly recommend. For me, it's not just about traveling somewhere, it's not just about having a vacation. It's about truly making a difference.